What is up, guys? And welcome to the record-breaking 100th episode of Career Mode for the F1 2020 game. I've done over 40 seasons, spanned across every game from Codemasters, and then some older F1 games from other developers. And I have never gone this far in terms of uploading career mode. So here we are, record-breaking. I think the previous best was like in the 80s on F1 2016. We've celebrated for the occasion. Sevi, my graphics and thumbnail creator, has put together a slightly special livery. We replaced the orange with gold, and I'm thinking about keeping it for the rest of the season. So, yeah, if you're new to the channel, this is the My Team Experience. A series where I've created my own F1 team. We've gone through the highs and lows over the course of 6 years. This is F1 2025 now, technically. Lewis Hamilton is retired. Daniel Ricciardo is retired. Grosjean retired. Many people have left the sport. And we now have Alexander Albon versus Max Verstappen as the title fight, with Albon at Mercedes, Verstappen still at Red Bull. Speaking of Red Bull, we have Sebastian Vettel at Red Bull as well, though things are not going so well for him in the first few races. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Here's the state of play. We're upgrading the drag reduction in the run-up to this episode here in Zandvoort. We also did a major rear downforce upgrade. What else did we do? There's one more, actually. We're going to do a power upgrade, and that's going to go on in time for the Canadian Grand Prix coming next time. Episode number 101. Wow. Triple digits on a career mode. This is amazing. It's just a testament, I think, to how good F1 2020 is and how innovative this version of career mode has been to keep me hooked in for this long, and I'm still really enjoying the challenge of going through the highs and lows of having your own team in the sport, which is really cool. Gone are the days of F1 2018 where I was bored after season 2. I could probably, if I had enough time, do 10 seasons. If like there was a 2-year lifespan between F1 games, definitely would have got 10 seasons in. But regardless, we're not doing too bad. I think we've overtaken Renault as well in the development race, so that's nice. Heading into this 101st race, that might be a bit confusing. There was an episode where I did 2 races in one episode. Thank you, George Russell, for crashing me out at Silverstone. But anyway, here we go for the Dutch Grand Prix. If you're excited for this series and you want to see it continue, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, to see plenty more racing game content. I'd imagine there's probably going to be some F1 2021 news soon. It's been a little while since the announcement, but you know the game's coming out in a couple months anyway, so you know you want to be subscribed to this channel to see all that stuff. Anyway, practice was okay. Pace probably wasn't as good as I was hoping it to be, considering we brought lots of upgrades in. But everyone else is upgrading as well at a very similar rate. So our progression in this season has been a little slow than what I would have wanted it to be. Alright then, here we go for qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix. As you guys know, qualifying hasn't been our strong suit this season. The way that we've targeted upgrades with fuel efficiency upgrades, tyre wear upgrades, etc. means we're actually a little bit faster in the race than what we are in one-shot configuration. So, hopefully, will be quite competitive come the end of race day. The Q1 is well underway. We're only doing 1 lap here at the end of the session to maximize the track at its best at the end of the session. Tried to go again for a second lap back to back, and unfortunately was just overdriving the car. The tires went off on that second lap, and we only just scraped through to the next session. Nicholas Latifi, wow, a long way ahead of me time-wise, over 7/10. So that's quite the margin, you'd have to say, as we head into Q2. I was just scraping into this session, and now I've got to try and get myself into Q3, which we've been, well, we're hoping to do. I want some good results in this race. You can see we're up by nearly 2/10, but from 16th place, that's not enough of an improvement, and we are out in Q2. Nicholas Latifi, you guys, or some people, not many, criticized my choice or thought that he wasn't the best guy for the job. Look at him now. He's in Q3. He's done an amazing job. I think he's been a little bit unlucky, showed great potential at times, but that's exactly where he wants to be. And only 4/10 away from pole. I was 5/10 off him. It's not really acceptable, is it? I did go my own way with setup this time. I tried the camber and alignment, like far right for the first one and then bottom 3 left. Apparently that's really good on this year's game. Only figured it out now, 10 months into the game. But okay, that's fine. We've got rain for the race, so hopefully we're stronger in that.
Welcome along then to the North Sea coast and Zandvoort, 25 miles away from Amsterdam, and the host for today's Dutch Grand Prix. It's a race the great Jim Clark won on 4 occasions, leading for an astonishing total of 370 laps. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk about day. No grip penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance and a very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Thanks, Jeff. Let's hopefully do that, but it's been a disappointing qualifying. 16th place on the grid on a track which has given us success in the past. We won here in Season 2, I think it was. First win in the rain. Thankfully, we've got a bit of that to lean on in today's race. Looks like it's going to rain about halfway through. We're going to need a bit of changeable conditions, some luck with the safety car and strategy. Basically everything if we want to get a good result. Hopefully, I mean, heading into this race, I wanted a top 5, but I don't think that's possible. I think what's probably more realistic at this point is top 7 points, I guess, at this point. It's not the easiest track to overtake, so we've definitely got our work cut out for us as we get ready for the Dutch Grand Prix. 5 red lights, and we are underway. As always, shocking start. Heading down into turn 1, trying to get back past places that we lost. Down into turn 1, we got past Ocon and Magnussen briefly before Aitken swiftly takes that position back. So it's 16th place once again. There goes one of the alphas around the outside. That is Magnussen. And to be honest, that's not been a great opening sector. Let's see if we can recover this as we go around the outside of Magnussen through the fast right-hander with 72 laps worth of fuel on board. Is not a great feeling through this middle sector. Tyres really do overheat, and I actually think in hindsight that that was something I was really struggling with, maybe in qualifying, but in the race it's going to be a problem too, with so much fuel on board and so much energy going through the tyres, at least early on. So yeah, that's something we'll have to just deal with at this point in the career mode when the car is fast. I mean, it should be fast. The cars are fast after Season 1. Even with all the reg changes, stripping back all that pace, still is a lot of energy going through the tyres, and as such, lots of overheating, which, yeah, I hate to bang on about it. It's a real problem in career mode. Anyway, we're starting to claw back some ground. It looks like we're finding some momentum now as the race pace and consistency really bringing us to the fore. As we go around the outside, one of the McLarens, that's Carlos Sainz we've just done around the outside on the medium compound tyres. Thank you very much. Up into 13th place, Valtteri Bottas having an absolute stinker today. 11th in the Mercedes. I mean, it's art imitating real life at its best here in Zandvoort. Anyway, around the outside of Antoine Hubert, who is also in a pretty shocking position given the state of his car. The Racing Point is the third best car now and could potentially be challenging the likes of the Mercedes and the Red Bulls for the championship this season. So, yeah, let's see what they can do this season. But rain has hit already, lap 5, and you can see I'm losing the back end like crazy. Here comes Hubert around the outside in the Racing Point, trying to squeeze him out to stop him from getting the position. We're going to have to hold this around the outside with marbles and just dampness on the circuit. Not great. And you can see we're just struggling to keep this thing on the circuit. The rain really only appeared in the last 60 seconds, but I think we're already going to be going into the pit lane for a set of intermediate tyres, such is the intensity of the rain that's falling down right now. It's going to be an absolute madhouse in the pit lane, so I'm probably thinking that we should carry on for it. Oh, this is really risky. Carry on for another lap, because the pit lane in Zandvoort is really, really short. Everyone's going to be in at the same time, and it's just going to be double stack city in there. So I'm going to stay out the extra lap. Latifi does box for the intermediate tyres, and this is something I never do. I almost always will accept a double stack, but I'm willing to take the risk. I think we were down in 14th, 15th-ish place before this round of pit stops. You can see a lot of people getting held up. Vettel getting absolutely screwed by McLaren. He can't leave. He already served a double stack. He's going to be just about last in this Grand Prix. He will, well, no, he won't be after I make my stop, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we can get ahead of Vettel. But you can see this in lap is absolutely atrocious. It's just painful to watch. It's painful to drive. Absolutely no grip. There's Albon going around the outside of Ocon in the Renault, who hasn't stopped yet. And that's literally 2 or 3 seconds behind me. We're already a pit stop down in this Grand Prix, and it's about to get worse. As we round the final corner, here comes Albon. Thankfully, we're not going to get in his way, and we're going to pull in for, yeah, a set of intermediate tyres. So it's not been a great strategy, but I thought, oh my god, Bottas! Bottas is a lap down. As if his day wasn't already bad enough. Down outside the top 10. Now he's a lap down, and his team refused to acknowledge his existence. They're coming out of the pit lane now, and we're in P12. We've actually gained time, gained positions, by staying out on a dry tyre on a wet circuit. Absolute logic. Speaking of, I've got no words for what's happening here. If that was the player, or if that was online, they'd be disqualified by now. But AI, preferential treatment. Anyway, Bottas is 2 laps down and counting. Meanwhile, my teammate, Nicholas Latifi, is up in 6th place right now. He benefited massively, of course, as we always will, when everyone comes into the pit lane, because we're at the end. We don't have to really double stack or wait for anyone. He was able to leapfrog a lot of people who double stacked, particularly in the top end teams. So Latifi looking strong for a points finish. Let's hope we don't have a repeat of Bahrain, where he was up in 4th place, but then he ended up in 14th in the final, like, 10, 20 laps. Please no. We actually want to go for the Constructors this season. It's not looking great, but this is potentially our best race so far to do so. Here we go, up the inside of Vettel, who had no traction going out of that cambered left-hander. And, but maybe, just maybe, we've got some pace on the intermediate tyre. We're out-tractioning the AI like crazy, which is weird considering they have traction control, or at least they did. They probably still do, but they're just struggling to put the power down through the first sector, through the low-speed corners, which is rather interesting. Here comes Sainz, or here comes us on Sainz. Again, this corner, absolutely OP for us. We can get on the power nice and early, up on a rich and overtake, and get the job done before we even get to the fast sweeper. Russell is up next, and not quite. Bit of a back-end loss, but we hold on for 9th place. We are going to get some points today. So, yeah, it said it was going to rain halfway through the race for, I don't know, the majority of it. Let's hope that it just rains until the end of the Grand Prix. It looks like we've got some top 5, top 3 maybe running pace at this stage as we dive bomb Russell down into turn 1. 8th place. Latifi is quickly approaching on the radar. 3 seconds up the road. Norris up next. We were closing up to Norris, by the way, on the dry compound tyres before the rain hit. I think he was holding up Bottas at the time. So we've actually managed to make up the time lost by doing the extra lap. We now get Norris. I mean, yes, we gained positions because of the pit stop malarkey, but we did lose time to the people who stopped straight away for intermediate tyres. It's just the people who double stacked lost more time than us. Maybe that wasn't obvious, but I thought I'd mention that now. Anyway, we got a McLaren going off through the right-hand sweeper, and I actually thought that was a retirement for a reliability issue. Turns out it wasn't. Jack Aiken having a bit of an excursion there through the middle sector, and I was hoping that was going to bring out a safety car, because that would have really thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, because I feel like we might potentially be the best car on circuit right now. We're just continuing to march forward in this Dutch Grand Prix. Latifi's up next. Hopefully he doesn't put up too much of a fight, considering I am the boss of the team. Massive back end loss, and Latifi gives me the big squeeze. Right. He is going the right way for a smack bottom. Or maybe even a mid-season swap. You fancy going back to Williams? Because if you keep this up, that's what's going to happen. Massive dive bomb at turn 1. Obviously it didn't go down too well. And we're going to have to go again on this guy. Who would have thought? The hardest guy to overtake on circuit is my teammate in the same machinery. I'm overtaking, or I have been overtaking, better drivers in better cars. Much easier than this guy, but we finally get him, and we're now up in the 6th place on the 17th lap of 72. Still a mammothly long way to go in this Grand Prix. Such is these 100% races. It really throws, I don't know, a spanner into the works. I actually really enjoy the strategy at play, having to really think about your upgrades and what you target and stuff, and it really tests your consistency when you double the distance, and yeah, have to do so many more laps on your tires. It makes this, it really puts so much emphasis on finding what the ideal race tire is and then sticking with that for the entire Grand Prix. Of course, when it's raining, it makes it a lot easier for us. We're just going inters, and that's GG. But not really sure whether we need to make another stop for intermediate tires. Hold that thought, as we have a big dive bomb on Gasly. We're now in the top 5, by the way. Just chilling. Casual as you like. In what is the 7th or 8th best car. It's not bad. But yeah, I was wondering about what the strategy was going to be going forward. Is it going to rain for the rest of the race? Unfortunately, it's not. We're going to have some dry conditions in about 10-15 minutes time, maybe less. The rain has already stopped, so the track is drying out. So that's something we're going to have to mentally prepare ourselves as we get towards... We're not even halfway. We are nowhere near halfway, and the rain is dissipating. I don't like this, because in the dry... I mean, yes, the pace was good. It was better than 16th place, but I don't think we've got top 5 running pace in the dry. And, well, it's time for dry tyres. Again, lap 24. Onto the softs. They want me to box twice for those. Might even consider a set of mediums, potentially, towards the end of the race. We'll just have to weigh up how the softs feel. But it is worth mentioning that the softs that we're running, or have left to run, are all used. We don't have any fresh sets left for the rest of the race. So that's going to make things a little bit tricky, and may sway my decision towards mediums. Look at the overheating there on the front tyres. Thankfully, we are in, and we're not doing the extra lap on this occasion. It is Latifi who has to do the double stack. So, unlucky for you, mate. Out of the pit lane, lap 25, and Leclerc having a very casual Sunday drive out of the pit lane complex. Thanks for the free time, mate. We might even be able to get him on the next lap. How's the traction? Much better for the AI now. So that major advantage that we had in the wet is now gone. We have to do this the old-fashioned way. But thankfully we have DRS now on this start-finish straight, which might prevent or promote overtakes. We go up the inside, down to the turn 1. Again, we love the turn 1 dive bomb today. It's not worked out on this occasion, but we're just letting Leclerc know that we're here and we're ready to fight. That's a bit of a loss of the back end. and that could potentially put him under pressure as we head into the middle sector. We're up in a rich and overtake. You can see we've got the overspeed. He blocks the inside. We're going to have to go around the outside through here on the marbles. Leclerc holds the position, but can we hold it at the next right-hander? You bet we can. That's 4th place. My goodness. We've just overtaken a Ferrari, which is, well, marginally better than us, but for 4th place. That is absolutely amazing. Lance Stroll is up next in the Racing Point, and we are looking down the barrel of a podium right now. How's the fastest lap pace? Verstappen way faster than us. 1.2 seconds better on that last lap, and Albon going even quicker on this one. 11.2 plays our 12.1. Wow, we are rubbish in the dry. But we're faster than a Ferrari, and maybe marginally quicker than a Racing Point. This is Charles Leclerc trying to fight us back. You can see a bit of contact there through the 3rd sector. He's going to have DRS down this straight, and we're going to block the inside. Thankfully, he doesn't go for that move. Still got a long way to go in this race. This is not over. I was quite lucky to get ahead of Leclerc. Thankfully, I was close enough to really do something about this. I reckon if I didn't have DRS, if I didn't have Slipstream, he would have got away. I think he's got better pace than us, but we just were able to get the tyres up the temperature at the right time and get a move on, really. Anyway, speaking of, someone who should get a move on is Valtteri Bottas. He's like 3 laps down and stuck behind Lance Stroll. He's faster than all the cars that he's racing in that train. They can't do diddly squat about it. Look at that. He overtakes Giovinazzi straight away. Blue flags. Get out of the way. Get in the bin, mate. It's that's a real struggle for Bottas. That's going to be his recurring nightmare all day. As we now we lap De Vries, top 20, just about remain on the lead lap at this stage. As we can see Leclerc having a little go in the midway point of this race. So we're past halfway now, finally. But Leclerc getting ever frustrated. We squeeze him to the outside. There's no way around the outside there, mate. And we keep the position for now. I've got this really tough ask. I'm trying to keep Leclerc at bay, keep up a decent pace, because I want to catch up to Stroll, but I also need to save fuel to get to the end as well. Massively ran wide there. I think Leclerc has made contact through the middle sector. Here's the replay, as I did cut him off there. But here I've genuinely ran wide, and he's just run into the side of me. What's he playing at? He's lost his front wing. That's the dumbest thing I think I've seen this season. Apart from my start line antics of Bahrain. That is a very, well, distant second from that. But still, second place award for the dumbest move of the season goes to Charles Leclerc. Yellow flag through turn 1. And that is Nobuharu Matsushita out of the Grand Prix. I think that's the Williams he's in. Unlucky son. But at least you can have an early shower and not be driving around all day, only to end up in last. I think that's a favour. Anyway, we're going to box at the end of this lap. You can see, I don't know if you noticed, but the fronts are overheating, particularly the front left through the middle sector. It's something that I was willing to accept at the start of the Grand Prix, but like this far into the race now and a lot less fuel on board, having the soft overheat is not fun. So what I've actually done here is I've switched onto the medium compound tyre in the hopes that this tyre will be the better race tyre. Hopefully it can deal with the thermal degradation that little bit better. Safety car has been deployed on the very next lap. Talk about timing. And well, we're going to have another chance at trying to get a podium in this Dutch Grand Prix. There is Stroll onto the soft compound tyres. What is everyone else going to do? You can see one of the Mercedes is in. That is Bottas. He's onto the mediums. There is Pierre Gasly. He also goes on to mediums. So Stroll can make it to the end of the race. That was the pit window pretty much for all the AI, including myself. But yeah, I could have boxed for softs myself, but I thought our pace isn't great on the softs. We've given it a go in this middle stint and the start of the race, and it wasn't quite there once we got into the stint. Even with our tyre wear upgrades, it just wasn't working. The tyres weren't phasing in very well. So I thought, screw this. Switch to mediums. And, at this point, we've got nothing to lose. We may as well go for it. Because this tyre might well switch on and be way better than the soft, in which case we might get ourselves a podium. So we may as well go for it. Safety car is coming in at the end of this corner, and I am absolutely going to go for this. We're going to try and draw alongside Lance Stroll. The lap cars here are going to make it a little bit awkward, but we are underway for green flag running. Great reaction for Stroll, but he's got no straight line speed. Maybe he's not up in a rich and overtake. We get past the lap cars, round the outside of Lance Stroll in the racing point, and we are now on the podium in the 7th best car, 7th worst car, whichever way you look at it. This is an unbelievable Grand Prix we're having from 16th on the grid. The medium compound strategy has worked straight away. However, we've got to keep this guy at bay for the next 23 laps. These first few are going to be particularly difficult with that soft switching on quite well for the racing point. I'd imagine they're going to have quite a bit of straight line speed over us. We do lack in the drag reduction upgrade department, so that might be a potential sticking point. Thankfully for us though, we're actually really fast in the 3rd sector somehow. Maybe the rotation through the last 3 corners has something to do with that. So it keeps us at arm's reach from Stroll. You can see I'm rapidly getting through the clips now. We're on lap 67, 5 laps to go. Basically, I just wanted to show that we weathered the storm from Stroll. He was always there and putting pressure on, but Gasly has now overtaken him on the medium, so the medium is now way better than the soft, and you can see he's got much better pace than the racing point, even though the AlphaTauri is a worse car, but not by much. Not by much at all. It looks like they're really pacey in a straight line. You can see he's getting ever closer as we head into the 3rd sector. Had to leave him space into the right-hander. And Gasly looks way more threatening than Stroll ever was. Here comes the fastest laps rolling in for Albon. Even though he's on the soft, he's continuing to get faster. Nice tyre wear upgrades for the Mercedes. Here comes Gasly. We're going to go up in a rich and overtake. This is his first proper overtaking chance as he goes round the outside, down into turn 1. That AlphaTauri is an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. Came out of nowhere. They were like 7/10 back, and now they're up our inside into turn 3. Thankfully, we hold on for now. We need to charge up that ERS through the middle sector. We've only got 12%, 10% and falling now. So he's going to know full well that we're low on battery. Going to save a little bit of fuel as well. We're only up by 0.1 of a lap. It's literally nothing. So down into lean revs. Absolutely trying to save as much ERS as we can. Need to make sure we hit these apexes here because we have been weak in the past and we don't want to give him any sniff of getting this 3rd place. It will be the first of the season. Best result we've had so far is a 7th or an 8th place. So literally not many points against our name at all. So if we can hold on for these final 2 corners, that would mean the absolute world to us and could potentially put us on the momentum towards winning the Drivers' Championship. Through the last corner, we have to be wary of Gasly here. Up in a rich and overtake, up to the line. He does have DRS. He's closing, but I think we just hold on.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
Many doubted whether they could pull off the win here in Zandvoort, but they have done, and done it in spectacular style. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Jeez. What a race. We literally maximized that. We squeezed the lemon until it was absolutely dry. We've got a podium from 16th place. The car is in the best shape it's been all season, but that was a shocking qualifying. But to bounce back like that was absolutely incredible. The pace in the wet was what set it all up for us. We were close enough to Leclerc after we switched onto the dries. We were lucky to get ahead of him, lucky to stay ahead. And the safety car came out, took a gamble on strategy, with the mediums. In the end, it was the right choice, but then Gasly, with his pace, came out of nowhere. Absolute missile in a straight line, and very nearly got us. The gap was only 100th of a second. After 72 laps, separated by 100th, I am happy to be on the good side of that 100th of a second. So first podium of the season, 15 points. That's going to do well the good for the drivers, but the constructors too, because Latifi has got his first points. Yeah, good drive from him, I would say. He's only 6 seconds away. I mean, 9th place, that looks bad because he was in like 6th at one stage, but he's only 6 seconds away from getting a podium. That's how close the upper midfield is. It's absolutely ridiculous. Same can't be said for the bottom 5 teams. 5-ish teams. Hubert, horrible day. Got lapped when Stroll was in the contention for the podium, or was in the podium positions most of the day. I think that's potentially a seat that Racing Point need to look at filling at the halfway stage of this season. But we're in 6th place in the standings, shot up to 19 points. Latifi's up to 13th as well. It's not bad. I think if you asked me at the start of the season, would I be happy with this result after 3 races? I think I would be. I was quite disappointed with the progress before this race, but yeah, given what we had and the setup that we had and everything that we had under us, that was quite mad to get that result in the end there. So I'll take that, and hopefully with more developments, we'll be able to really legitimately challenge for podiums and not have to have all the stars align really for that to happen. But yeah, we'll see what the true nature of the car is like. We really only got the massive facility upgrades come in at the start of this episode. So we didn't get the massive roll of resource points heading into this one. But I think from next episode, we should be able to gain a little bit more momentum on the other teams. So far, we have been overtaking, those around us, but it's been pretty slow progression. Everyone else has been upgrading and recovering all their upgrades they lost from last season pretty quickly. So it's been interesting. It's definitely made things a challenge, but that's what I've signed myself up for doing this last season. I love making things hard for myself. But there we go, guys. That's been it for today. The Dutch Grand Prix, 100 episodes in to the career mode journey. Who knows how many we'll do on F1 2021? 200? 300? Let's do 1,000. Why not? Anyway, thanks you so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys for a brand new video very soon.